People would argue to me that the um, current state of the hobby is actually the golden days of the hobby. But for me personally, the golden days of of the hobby was actually during the mid 2000s, between maybe 2007 to 2015. Um, but prior to that one, there was the days of the Tamiya Manila Forum, and during those days, you can get a kit for as low as 250 pesos, and that lasted for a few decades. But right now, I don't know. The kits are so expensive, and there are a lot of, how do we put it? They are being conned as hoarders, but basically they're just, for me, they're just scammers. Those are the people that are actually breaking this hobby. How I wish we could just go back to the golden days of, Tamiya Manila. But anyways, we're here right now to actually review, since one this is actually one of our favorite chassis here. It's the TZX chassis. Um, well, not just any TZX chassis, of course. It's the carbon edition, but this is just a copy or an actual imitation, since Tamiya has actually stopped manufacturing this carbon chassis for the TZX a long time ago. It was last seen with, I think it was with Mad Bull or the Badger King kit. Oh God, I wish I bought a lot of that one. Back then it was only like around 450 pesos. In terms of like the comparison to a, this is the carbon, this is the copy, and this is a original Tamiya. Though this is not the carbon one. This is just a ordinary chassis that came from the Vanishing Gazer kit. But in terms of this review, I had separated this one into basically five categories, which is the first one is the quality, how it is built, is it actually useful, or rather the next category is like how useful it is, how can we use it to a, well, how can we actually raise it into different categories, and the actual performance of it, and some possible issues if there are, and of course, is it worth the price? So in terms of quality, it is built solidly. It has a good matte finish. If I do compare it to the imitation or copy carbon Super FM, basically this one is much more sturdier, and I think this could really last for, well, basically longer. And the wing itself, it's pretty tough, so it's absolutely perfect for the technical category. The internals themselves are pretty good. They're really solid in terms of the lock, like here. Um, this is actually one of the major issue that I have for my regular Tamiya internals. But the internals in for this one, it's a bit flimsy on the, like, the stoppers here. It's a bit flimsy, and I could see easily breaking. But in terms of the overall chassis, it's good. The screw holes here, again, screw hole, they're pretty good. They're not as hard compared to, why everything has to be green. Hard again. Okay. It's there. It's not that difficult to put in the screw, and at the same time, I haven't really taken this one off. But then again, it's screwed in tightly and nicely. You know, it's nice and tight. In terms of the usefulness, where would you actually use this one? Since this is a copy or an imitation or a, how do you, what's the term that, a,
5 minutes later.
yeah, a bootleg. It's a bootleg version of the TZX, but then again, compare it to the original one. Honestly, in terms of usefulness, this is actually much more useful compared to the original one, since this has a sturdier wing compared to the original, which is a bit flimsy and could easily break. So in terms of usefulness, this is undoubtedly usable in terms of, for the, I mean, not in terms of, but rather for the technical category. And as for me, I am using this one for my pro stock. Again, it's pro stock and not just pro stock PH. So it's pro stock based on the international rules that we have. We have the Indotail here in Visayas. I don't know. I heard news that in some parts of Iloilo and in Rojas, they're using the Pro Stock PH. So if they are, chances are, well, we won't be able to go there. But I think some of my teammates has already gone there, and well, we will have a race this coming Saturday, so I'll be meeting up with them, getting some feedback, of course. So by the time this might be released, I might not have been able to meet up with them, but I'll do a follow-up on that one next week. Anyways, in terms of usefulness, I do see this being useful for, number one, the first category, it's on the technical side, and number two, on the pro stock side, if, well, pro stock, not pro stock PH, but or super stock here, on some, in the Visayas area that they call it. Also, I do see it as on the speed tech category, even to our BMAX category. Though, if you're going to be mounting a side damper on this one, I do not think that drilling a hole underneath this one, it's pretty good. But if you're going to be mounting your dampers or side dampers to the side here, it will surely go on top. And the down thrust on this one, the natural down thrust of it, I don't know if it's seen there. I do have a video after all. It's just absolutely big. Ducks ba? Ducks. Anyways, so that is in terms of the usefulness. It should perform well. Well, in terms of the, how do we put this, performance, this has performed well in the Pro Stock category. It did reach, for its, this is the only chassis that I got, by the way. This is the only one. So it did reach the quarterfinals last 2 weeks ago on my last race. So it did pretty good. And in terms of the motor, it does have a power dash on a 4:1 gear with a low friction on both front and back. But then again, I think I could put an ultra dash on this one. It did perform well, but not well enough, since I think that because of the new low friction tires that I have here, it really has almost no friction. So yeah. So just a quick side note. I know some would tell me that, or actually not some. Some has already informed me that I could just use a regular, regular hard tire at the back, or a regular slick tire at the back or at the front to compensate for the low friction. But let's be honest. What's the main reason why we're using low friction? It's to compensate for the overspeeding of the motor. I think this runs at 30 kilometers per hour at a 4.2 gear. Again, as I mentioned before, I would always race with a full fully charged battery that has not rested. I do top up my batteries every race, and each time I would do a re-entry, or if I re-enter my units, I would always make sure that the batteries are fully topped, or they're fresh out from the box, or the charger rather. Um, so maybe I could use an Ultra Dash on this one. Maybe let's see on this weekend. Let's see. I should be able to buy more. Anyways, that is it for the performance, and let's go to the issues. Yeah, this is actually a somewhat, if you're someone that is not fond of, you're not being handsy on your unit, I would really not recommend getting this chassis. But if you're someone that you are a bit handsy, then this should be perfect for you. But in my opinion, the efforts that I had were a bit, I got an injury, honestly. um, um, this in this current video on screen, you would see that I needed to actually shave off some of the parts here on the propeller shaft, since basically this won't fit. The propeller shaft at the back of it won't fit, and it's, well, I needed to shave off of it, and I can't just drill it off. I needed to slowly shave it off, since this is actually the first time that I've been using this. But then again, I would be adding a new video as well on this one. But again, shaving it off got me injured to my hand here, since it's really hard. Man, it's really hard. At the same time, the most difficult part of this one is actually where the front terminal is at. I don't know if this is just on my chassis, but I have a teammate that has also the same issue, that the terminal won't fit because there is a somewhat like a gap. Maybe it's for the mold that they had. The mold was not exactly perfect. There's a, how do you say that? There's a stoppage there, and it wasn't fully how do you say that? It's not fully not hold up. Well, there's no gap. Basically, there's no gap up here. So this was the most difficult part, since it's on a curved part of the chassis, and even if I would use a cutter or a blade or a hobby blade, it won't fit because of the curvature. But the solution I had there was actually to use the tiniest screwdriver that we have, just slowly chipping until the terminal could go in. So that was actually the most difficult part of it. For the issues, those are actually the issues that we have. So again, if you're someone that is not fond of being handsy to your beloved units, then you might find it very difficult. But then again, after you have done everything or all the effort, if you get injured or not, maybe I'm just the one getting injured here. Anyways, if you're someone that is looking for a long-term chassis, this is highly recommended. It's pretty good again. But then again, there's a small caveat of gray area. In Pro Stock, there's a basic rule that all chassis must be Tamiya. It must be from a Tamiya brand. So this is also one of the reasons that I actually only bought one. But then again, so to our organizers there in Dumaguete, Sir Sherwin, in Cebu as well, Sir James, Sir Morris, I would really like to get your attention on this one. If you could allow some copy chassis to be raced on, since basically in terms of longevity, this is absolutely perfect. Unless they would release a carbon AR chassis, then maybe that's another topic for itself. But I think the chassis that they should really release a carbon edition. This is Tamiya. I'm talking to you, and Project D. If you are watching as well, I don't have an affiliate link for this one, so I won't be able to put a link down on the description. Well, business is business again. This is actually one of the reasons why I have been in hiatus for posting videos since, well, let's say I'm truly busy in terms of um, well, having a life and getting more money. Well, more money for me for to spend on this one. Anyways, so in terms of recommendations, is it worth for this one? The price is actually 200 pesos. I've seen if you buy this one internationally, overseas, it could go for around 300 pesos. And the regular TZX, it's going for between like 250 to 400, depending on which chassis that you're going to be getting. Is it worth it for the price? Is it okay? For me, it's a tad bit expensive since the carbon Super FF chassis, it's only worth like 160 pesos. Some are actually selling it for just 100 pesos. For the imitation one, for the bootleg version. So basically 200 pesos for this, it's a bit steep. Is it worth it? Well, if this is allowed by the organizers that we have for each racing centers here, especially the centers that I'm racing at, then it could be borderline, yes, it is worth it. But as of now, well, I couldn't say it's actually worth it unless they lower down the price or the effort itself. They could improve the backside part of the propeller shaft, and also they would actually fix the gap issue here for the front terminals. Then 200 pesos would go a long way. It will be a lot, but with the modification that we needed to do, the effort itself for the price, to be honest, it's not worth it for 200 pesos. There's a lot of work needed to be done. But if you ask me in terms of quality for the performance of it, well, that one is somewhat, it's on the gray area or the silver lining of this one. The efforts that you will go through should be good, but in terms of consistency, I really don't know if you have a fleet of this one, if it would be consistent to winning. I'll try to see if I could garner more. So if Project D, if you were watching this, maybe you could send me a message. I do have links down there for where you could contact me. Maybe we could talk in terms how we can improve this as well. But again, those are the only like nitpicks that I have, or its quirks. It's that the both of this one, the front, the back side of this, that's the only issue I had. But the greatest issue, I think, some would find very annoying is the gap here. It's really hard to go down there and shave it off. So again, recommendation. In recommendation, it's truly up to you. But for me, again, I did say it's not that worth for the price, but it's absolutely worth it for the performance. But then again, you need to have a steady hand for this one to make sure that every fleet that you have or every chassis has the same amount of shaved off for the propeller shaft, so that the consistency of the performance are going to be the same. So, would I buy it again? Definitely, that's a yes. So, anyways, again, if you're still here at this part of the video, so please do like our video, share our videos, and of course, subscribe and ding that notification bell so that you'll be the first one to see our content. So again, if again, I do apologize for some of the questions that we had. I've been so busy for the month of January for this year. Well, really busy trying to find a life for myself. Anyways, anyways, again, thank you and cheers.
Living life,
Praise on.
every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying.